Wednesday update on I do the 12th of January 2021. For more updates please subscribe. At the breakfast table. Dilshad is reprimanding Nazma for not eating anything in the name of diet. When she says that she wants a maintained body like Assad's, Zoya can't stop giggling, much to the displeasure of Assad, who too joins them in breakfast. He ignores her and asks Nazma to finish her breakfast. Dilshad asks Assad the reason for his delay in office today, and he says that his meeting got cancelled. Nazma tells Dilshad that she and Zoya are leaving. Zoya, who has still not been able to get over her giggling fit, starts singing a romantic song aimed at Assad just to irritate him before leaving. Ayan's residence, Razia reprimands Shirin for being too lenient on her husband. Therefore he told such a big lie to her face and she didn't do anything about it. She adds that if this behavior of his causes any trouble in Nikat's marriage, then she won't be responsible. Shirin defends herself, saying that she didn't find the time to ask Rashid about it, since Hasina had come and then she got busy. Razia tells her to take it seriously and take it up with him. Just then Rashid enters and Razia, motioning her to ask him about it, leaves the room citing some excuse. Rashid inquires if Hasina exchanged the suit. He continues to comment that Imran seems good, but he is concerned about Nikat staying with a lady like Hasina. Shirin asks him how is Dilshad. Caught unawares, Rashid turns around with surprise and says he doesn't know what is she talking about. Assad's residence, a delivery boy gives a parcel for Dilshad that Assad receives and gives to her, asking who sent it to her. Dilshad finds a beautiful watch gift wrapped and is wondering who sent this, then realizing something she stops in puzzlement and shock. Ayan's residence, Shirin tells him that whenever somebody lies there's a reason behind it, and she wishes to know the reason behind him lying that day about the phone being off. He defends himself, saying that it was a no-network problem, but is rendered speechless when she counters him, saying that she called his office and was told that he didn't come that day, and accuses him of going to meet Dilshad. She asks him to respond, but before he can say anything, Rashid's mother steps in and saves him from Shirin's wrath by telling a lie that she had sent him to find out about Imran's family's background from people that know them. Shirin is relieved but asks why wasn't she told. She happily jokes that she can't keep anything to herself and Razia would have been hurt if she got to know about this, so she wasn't told. She then asks Shirin to get her a glass of milk for her medicines. She happily agrees and leaves, which gives his mother the time to advise him to forget about Dilshad and that he was lucky to be saved this time, but that won't happen always. Assad's residence, Assad asks her who sent this and whether she ordered for it. Dilshad, caught in the act, fumbles for answers while Assad suspiciously waits. She then makes up a lie, saying that she had sent her watch for repair and maybe they mixed it up with some other watch and that she would go to exchange it. Assad offers to do it for her and better instead buy her a new watch, but she refuses and says that she would manage herself. Once Assad leaves, Dilshad is sitting in retrospection. Ayan's residence, while discussing guest lists with Razia, Shirin and Rashid's mother, Hasina surreptitiously brings up the name of Assad Ahmed Khan and, sensing the sudden alarm on their faces, wants to know if they know him. Razia tries to change the topic, saying that though they are known in the city, they don't everybody. Rahist mother along with Shirin excuse themselves on the pretext of getting food for Hasina and her relative. Razia too excuses herself to avoid further conversation on this topic. Sensing them fleeing like this, Hasina is all the more suspicious and is determined to find out about this person and his relationship to this household before the marriage so that they have an upper hand. Assad's residence. While Assad is doing his evening prayers, Nazma walks in with a box full of their childhood stuff and asks Assad if he needs anything, since it brings back childhood memories. He says he doesn't want anything for that same reason. Nazma nevertheless goes on to take out a lion's mask and reminds him of the whole story behind the mask, which he finishes himself while she places the mask on the deck. Just then a breeze comes, and the mask falls out on the approach. She apologizes to Assad, who says she shouldn't bother, since it's just a childhood toy. She comments that he wouldn't have kept it till now, had it been just a toy. He tells her not to worry about it as it will come back to him if it has to. He tells her to take the stuff back to her room. She bids him good night and leaves. Assad, standing in front of the window, is lost in retrospection. Zoya, who has come outside for a walk in the beautiful weather, finds the lion mask and happily takes it along with her in the house. Ayan's residence. Rashid goes past his daughter's rooms and is happy to see them playing. He is reminded of his mother's advice. But then again, he is also reminded of the way his daughters had been happy talking about Assad, and the smile returns to his face. He then goes past Ayan's room and is reminded of him talking highly about Assad. He pulls the blanket over him, pats him on the shoulder lovingly, and is about to leave when Ayan calls him from behind and asks him if he found the time to meet Assad as he had promised. Rashid says he is still trying. They both wish to God that it happens soon. Assad's residence. While sitting with the watch, Dilshad is taken down the memory lane, when she and Rashid were together, and how she had made up a story in order to give him her gift list for every anniversary, and he had promised that he would give the gifts as she has mentioned, even though she tells him that she wants nothing else, now that she has him, and he having taken her list very seriously and told her to keep the list as he has already memorized it and would do as instructed. Her eyes fill up with tears remembering this, and she comments that though she knows he gifted her this watch, he doesn't know that time stopped for her 17 years back. Zoya enters asking her about her laptop and finds her teary-eyed. Dilshad says that she kept it in the almirah while cleaning and goes to get it, but is stopped by Zoya, who asks her that she is unusually smiling and if everything is all right. She answers that she's smiling unusually because everything is all right, but Zoya demands to know if everything is all right when a person smiles with teary eyes. Pointing at her, she says that Dilshad shares her happiness with everyone, but bears all the grief alone. Dilshad thwors the question back at him, patting her lovingly on the head, saying doesn't she also do the same, leaving Zoya speechless. Ayan's residence. Shirin and her children are looking through jewelry for Nikat and having a casual conversation while Rashid is working. When they leave, Ayan asks Rashid what did he get for Shirin's impending birthday. He avoids the talk, saying that he would buy something as he still has time for it. College for Arts and Science Fest is full-fledged going on in the college. People are enrolling themselves in different events. Nikat, Nusrat and Hamera are enrolling too in Mendi, designing and fashion show, respectively, and face an awkward moment when Nazma too enrolls at the adjacent booth for fashion show, and all of them say their father's name aloud at the same time, on being asked for it. Before Nikat can talk to her, Nazma leaves. Ayan and Assad's residence. Rashid is waiting for Dilshad's call on receiving the watch and is sitting by the phone with the hope that she calls to say that she likes it. He gets the phone call, but Dilshad, instead of thanking, reprimands him for having sent a gift after so many years. He says that he had still that list in mind, though she might have forgotten and bought her desired gift every year but never mustered the courage to give it to her. She asks what was different this time. He says time stopped and went 17 years back when he saw her at the Mazar, and therefore all 17 years of separation melted away in that moment, and he remembered all the moments he had shared with her. But she says that he forgot that he left her along with Asad and Nazma and got married to Shirin. Separation may have ended, but the pain didn't. She says that he is no related to her and is a stranger for her, and she doesn't accept gifts from strangers. Therefore she can't accept this from him. She thought about returning but then didn't, thinking he might be hurt. But she firmly says that she can't keep it in her house anymore despite his protests. He says that even to return it, she would have to met him. She goes speechless hearing this. College for Arts and Science. Nazma, who is waiting for Zoya, dressed in modern clothes, feeling awkward as evidenced by the same gang of boys who Zoya had saved her from the other day. She is feeling very helpless, and the boys are taking advantage of her when Zoya intervenes and scares them with her karate chops, but in her overenthusiasm hits a stone at them, which misses its spot and breaks the principal's glass window instead. The boys flee and Zoya is caught because of it. Ayan and Asad's residence. Rashid tells Dilshad that he would wait for her at the Mazar. She doesn't respond and cancels the phone. He thinking to himself that he would come not for the watch but for 2 seconds of her company. His mother watches her saying this and is in deep tension. Asad's office and the police station. While he is in a meeting, Asad gets a phone call from a police station, from Inspector Verma, telling him that they are calling him to ask him to come to the police station with regard of the arrest of Zoya Faruqi. Meanwhile, Zoya behind the bars is in tension along with Nazma, who is scared to death now that Asad has been called, and if he sees her in this dress, he would kill her, and also the boys who dared to tease her again. Zoya is trying to make her understand that the police might hear her side and let her go. But Nazma is not appeased and is scared. Sensing her scare, Zoya asks her to go home as she won't be able to face her brother's wrath if he sees her like this, and he is already on his way now that the police have called him to be here. Despite her repeated protests of not leaving her, Zoya convinces Nazma to go home normally and pretend nothing happened. She finally leaves on Zoya's insistence. Ayan's residence. The Hool Khan family is enjoying the detailed version of the Zoya Ayan incident at the college, with Nusrat blowing it out of proportion and calling Zoya the new heroine of the college, irking Hamera. Sensing her jealousy, Ayan puts in an extra effort to irritate her all the more, praising Zoya. Amidst this merriment, Mamujan interrupts, asking Ayan to be sensible now that his childhood is long gone. But before he can start his lecture, just then a car honks and Shirin sends Ayan to look out, but Mamu stops him, giving him the same advice, and sends Nusrat instead outside, who comes back saying it's not Rashid. Mamu leaves. Just then Razia enters with the same rattling about finding about where Rashid is and what is this work that has gotten him so involved these days that his pH keeps coming switched off. Shirin too is in tension, wondering about the same. Looking at them, Rashid's mother is in tension at the way her son has been behaving recently. At the Mazar, Rashid sits in front of the Mazar and thinks to himself that Dilshad would definitely come. At the police station, Asad enters the police station and looks angrily at Zoya, who is silent and not her usual chirpy self. For the first time, Asad signing for the bail of Zoya Ahmed Khan. Police says irrespective reasons. Zoya broke law. Zoya still arguing that it was not her fault they were. Assad asks if he can take. Zoya, inspector agrees. Assad says sorry to principal on Zoya's behalf. Zoya is not happy with it. Principal says Zoya should have reported to security, they would have handled. Assad says Zoya is sorry for her deed and if not she will made to realize. Assad and principal leave. Zoya rants. Alone. Aj to jahapana diwar mine hai chunwatanj. Rashid waiting for Dilshad with all hopes. Dilshad is at home. Assad comes home angry and complains about Zoya fighting and ending up in police station. Dilshad asks if Zoya was fine. Assad says what will happen to her, the boys are hurt. Zoya says what was she supposed to do. Assad says she could have complained to him. Zoya says what he would have done later she did at that time. Dilshad interrupts her and asks to go to her room. Assad asks Dilshad she always reminds him Zoya is their guest and we should respect her, but Zoya never cares about their respect and took them to police station. Dilshad takes her side but Assad says she shd have called the security guards and asks if she thinks she got solution for all problems. Assad says no one knows who the boys were but they had to go to police station and no one from their house has ever visited police station. He says Zoya will leave soon but what if something wrong happens with Najma? Zoya says nothing will happen to Najma. Assad says he has not seen such a selfish and stubborn girl and she is a bad example for all girls. Zoya goes from there with tears in her eyes. Najma comes forward but Zoya with her eyes asks her not to come there. Assad says he hates selfish people and leaves. Zoya goes into her room. Rashid still waiting. Humaira walking with book on her head. Nusrat asks to use English book rather than accounts. Nusrat asks to walk like model rather than like circus people. Ayan on cycle shouts for Nakat. Humaira requests to stop Ayan as she does not want to meet him before fashion show as he will spoil it. Nuzhat stops him and asks him apt his hair. Ayan says and quat. Kia wa. Mujay. Pada de daddy karitha se don ka idea karab nikal ga hampu karalina chahida. Ayan then flirts with the girls and shows off his biceps etc. Girls divert him and Humaira runs into bathroom. Ayan offers coffee but with job done they leave. Rashid sees Zoya crying. She remembers Assad's words. Rashid offers her handkerchief. He asks if someone hurt him. She asks how he knows. He says someone in pain realizes others' pain. Rashid says, Jo dard apno ke soth na banta ya sake wo. Ajnabian ke soth banta ya sakta hai. She takes the handkerchief and stops crying. Zoya says she is fine and she is not crying. Rashid says he wishes he had lot more handkeys so he can give her an. She never cries. Zoya smiles. Rashid says I got the answer. He says he was there to meet someone. And he knew she won't come and waited. You know why? Zoya says no. He says he came to meet and make her smile and it was his wish. Zoya thanks him.